Hi guys, I'm Amy Lukes, and this week I have Scarlet from the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer in my hands. Stop and think, how many times have you heard someone say the first one was better than the second one? Harry Potter, Hunger Games, The Edge Chronicles, Twilight, Star Wars. Fans of each of these series complained that they didn't enjoy the second installment as much as they enjoyed the first installment. This is called the second book slump. It's actually not hard to find second books that live up to the promise of the first book. The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, Pretties by Scott Westerfeld, You Suck by Christopher Moore, A Hatful of Sky by Terry Pratchett, Kushiel's Justice by Jacqueline Carey, and now Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. Scarlet is a bit different in the way that it chooses to avoid the second book slump. Let me explain. The Lunar Chronicles is a science fiction retelling of fairy tales. We start with Cinderella, where Cinder is a cyborg living in New Beijing who is tasked with fixing the prince's android while a plague ravages her city. In Scarlet, we continue Cinder's story, but we also start Little Red Riding Hood by introducing Scarlet, a farm girl who teams up with a gang member named Wolf to find her missing grandmother. The books continue like this. Cress, the third book, is a retelling of Rapunzel, and Winter, the fourth book, is a retelling of Snow White. Meyer continues the narrative of the previous book's protagonists while changing locations and plots vastly. We get new love interests, new characters, new locations. It's complete newness. And I'm wondering, is that newness what is keeping the sequel blues away? Well, not always, but in this case, it worked. Now, Meyer chooses to give her protagonist the same gender and to tell them in the same perspective, third person limited omniscient. Both of those would be very easy ways to tell apart which character is narrating which parts. So what does Meyer change instead? What Meyer manages to do is give her characters completely different cultural backgrounds and different settings so that they're surrounded by just completely different objects. Cinder, for example, is a mechanic, and Scarlet is a farm girl. Scarlet is French, and her best friend's name is Emily, but Cinder's best friends are Eco and Peony. Cinder lives in New Beijing near the Emperor, and Scarlet lives on a farm 8 hours away from Paris. Cinder is running away from police, and Scarlet is chasing after gang members. Those are very different actions. Now, obviously, there are other ways to ward off the second book slump, and this is just one of them. Hopefully, I will get to making those videos another time. But this one emphasizes how important it is to make your characters distinct, not just in personality, but in situation and storyline. Now let's talk about one of the reasons for second book slump: falling action. In a lot of series, you have an overarching plot that covers the whole series, and then each book also has an individual plot. The first book is all rising action for the series plot, and then a completed plot that doesn't carry over to the second book. So when the second book comes around, you don't necessarily just have rising action for the series plot, which is what is enticing readers to read the second book. There's going to be hitting obstacles, there's going to be downtime, and there's going to be a lot less energy from your characters because this is when they get frustrated. And that frustrates the readers too. But the thing is, that frustration is what makes the end of the plot so fulfilling. But that takes place in a completely different... Introducing a new point of view character is a great way to keep your second book fresh, but there's no guarantee that your readers are going to like your new character or like your new plot. So what you have to do is keep those characters and those plots interesting while still having them work towards the end of the series plot. All in all, Meyer's method of keeping away the second book slump is difficult to write, but very fun to read. Capturing the feeling of the first book can be very important to your readers, and honestly very important to the popularity of your series. So my question to you is, think about one of the sequels that you didn't like, and imagine if it were told from the point of view of one of the supporting characters. How would that have changed it? Once again, I'm Amy Lukes. Go read The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, and I will see you guys next time.
Eva, what are you doing here? Were you here the whole time and you didn't even help me?